Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox, that's Ben Olson. We are the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Joshua.
Hey guys, plain and simple today. Should I still look at the demon's explanation if I get an answer correct? Why or why not? You guys rock. Thanks, Joshua.
It depends. Because just getting it right doesn't tell me that much. Getting it wrong tells me a lot. Getting it wrong tells me you weren't careful enough on this question. You didn't read it. You didn't understand it for sure. Because if you had read it and understood it, there's no way that you could have picked that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And frequently when you miss questions, you actually misread multiple parts of the question. When you get it right, it is multiple choice, right? I mean, a random guess is going to get it right 1 out of 5 times. So the fact that you got it right doesn't tell me that much. Now, if you knew you were getting it right when you hit submit and you got it right, then I have no problem with you moving on to the next question because you know that you solved it. Like if you know that you solved it, that's fine. I'll trust you. Because even if you're wrong about that, that's fine. You'll get caught out on another question. So just keep moving. But if you're doing a lot of like 50-50, and if you feel like, if you're like cringing when you hit submit, which you should be sometimes, narrowing it down to a 50-50 in general is kind of bad. But if you were able to conclusively rule out 3 answers and it has to be one of these 2, but you just really can't tell the difference between the 2 of them, if you grit your teeth and choose an answer, then whether you got it right or wrong, you definitely need to read the written explanation, maybe watch the video explanations, and use the ask button if necessary to make sure that you really feel that click of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you'd say to Joshua besides that?
No, yeah. If you're ever curious, check.
Yeah. And you should be curious. I mean, your goal when you're doing these questions should be, I'm going to solve the question. I'm going to feel like I have answered the question with certainty. If you feel even slightly that that's not the case, then you should probably be reviewing those explanations.
Yeah, and I just don't see, especially for the written explanations, it's very quick, right? You read a question, you had your objections to the argument, you then made a prediction for the answer, you then picked the correct answer, you start to read our explanation, and you're like, yeah, that's the same problem I saw. Okay, great. But if it's something different, then you can say, whoa, interesting. I didn't see it that way, but okay, cool. So, this is it's not going to take long. What you don't need to do, though, is if you do a time section and you get 15 of the questions right, you don't need to go through each one and start reviewing all those explanations. This is more for drilling.
Yeah.
But in that case...
I'm fine.
Yeah.
On time sections, if you only review your mistakes, I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
When you're doing untimed drilling, I think you should review everything that you're not 100% on.
Yep.
That's just the most efficient way to do it. Then you never have to flag questions. You never have to bother reviewing questions that were a slam dunk to you.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are some questions you'll remember from the time section that you got hung up on. Fine. Go back to that one. Check it out.
Sure. But if you don't, I also don't really care that much because, when you get back to your drilling, eventually you're going to find ones that you struggle with, and then you'll know it right in that moment. What I really hate people drilling question after question after question and putting the review off. I hate that.
Yeah, do people do that? I hope not.
Yeah, yes, they do.
Oh,
they absolutely do.
That's just like pulling a slot level. Yeah, the time to learn is the moment after you make a mistake.
I believe we have a card for this, and if we don't, I think we should. Some sort of a mode of drilling, or just even a reminder. I guess if you're getting questions right, then I just don't care that much. But if you miss a question and you don't review it, I feel like the demon should be like, hey, what? What are you doing?
It does do that if you don't open the explanation. If you get it wrong and you don't open the explanation, it says,
It's going to ask you a question.
When you click next. Yeah, it's going to say, view explanation? You missed that.
Yeah. If you got it right, then I guess I don't care as much.
Yeah.
But if you're ever going to review it, now's the time, because if you got it right, then, it's not going to go to your review inbox or whatever. So I would say people need to understand that those those areas of uncertainty, the moments where you're not quite sure, then whether you got it right or wrong, there's a learning opportunity there.
Yep.
So in drilling, especially, I think people need to be reviewing the explanations more frequently for some of their correct answers.
Cool.
And for all of their incorrect answers. Like, why are you going to skip that explanation?
What was the point of that exercise?
The point is not to just see if you can get them right.
Yeah.
The point is to learn from your mistakes or learn from your areas where you're struggling.
Yep.
The review is where the learning happens. 5 questions that you reviewed thoroughly is worth a hell of a lot more than 25 questions that you just didn't review at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or law school admissions news. Thanks for listening.